I catch my reflection in the polished glass doors of the Grand Meridian Hotel and barely recognize the woman looking back. She wears a lavender dress, worth 2 weeks of salary and heels that already pinch my feet. My hair, usually tucked neatly under a chef's hat, cascades in loose waves around my shoulders. For a brief moment, I could pass for a guest at my brother's high society wedding. That illusion disappears the moment I step inside. The pre-ceremony crowd hums with chatter about law firms, medical practices, and investment portfolios. I cling to my champagne flute like a lifeline in a sea of relatives who feel more like strangers. A waiter passes with canapes, and I instinctively note their presentation. Old habits die hard. Then I hear my father's voice, carrying across the room. "Yes, that's my daughter." "Scarlett," he says, motioning vaguely. "She's just a cook, not a professional like Michael." My mother's soft laugh follows, the same sound I once associated with bedtime stories, now a mark of social approval. We tried to steer her toward law school, but she was always stubborn. The champagne sours in my mouth. Heat floods my neck and cheeks. My hand shakes, rippling the golden liquid. Just a cook. After 6 years of culinary school, 3 years of 16-hour days for minimum wage, and finally earning my role as head chef at one of the city's top restaurants. That memory hits with brutal clarity. Sunday dinner 7 years ago. The table polished to a mirror shine. My father at the head. As usual, I had worked up the courage to tell them I'm not applying to law school. I've been accepted to the Institute of Culinary Arts. Silence presses against my skin. My father sets down his fork with deliberate care. "Cooking?" he says as if it were contagious. "You want to spend your life as a short-order cook when you could be a lawyer?" "It's not just cooking, Dad, it's..." I pause. It's a career, not a hobby. I slip away from the crowd, my lungs suddenly too tight to breathe. An empty hallway offers a moment of refuge. I lean against the cool marble wall, eyes closed. Another memory rises. Michael, age 12, bringing home an A on a social studies project. Dad frames it for his office. Me, 14, winning a junior cooking contest. Dad asking if I'd finished my algebra homework. Why am I still seeking their approval after all these years? The question circles my mind relentlessly. I've built a career I'm proud of, running a professional kitchen with 18 staff members, praised by critics for seasonal menu innovations. None of that matters here in this family. I recall Chef Marcus in my first week as head chef when I apologized for correcting a senior cook. "Your talent doesn't need their validation, Scarlett. Your work speaks for itself." I straighten my posture and reapply lipstick using my phone camera. Professional mask back in place. I return to the gathering just as guests move toward the ceremony space. My cousin Brittany intercepts me, her diamond bracelet sparkling. "Scarlett, Mom said you work at that French restaurant. Do you enjoy being a cook?" I smile, controlled. "I'm head chef at Maison Bleu, actually, not just a cook." My father appears, champagne in hand. "It's all the same thing, Scarlett. You work in a kitchen." Something inside me snaps. The reputation I've built, the certifications earned during late-night study sessions, the articles featuring my farm-to-table approach, all dismissed in 9 careless words. "Excuse me," I murmur, stepping away before I can say something I'll regret. The power imbalance is suffocating. My father controls the narrative here. Among family, friends, colleagues, and relatives, I am simply Richard Anderson's daughter who chose kitchens over courtrooms, the black sheep who couldn't follow the family tradition. I've worked too hard to let them reduce me to this. Every burn on my forearms, every callus on my hands, each 16-hour shift represents my commitment to a profession they consider beneath them. My phone buzzes in my hand, a text from Chef Marcus. "How's the wedding from hell going?" My fingers pause over the screen. The truth spills out. "They're making me feel like I'm nothing." His reply is instant. "Remember who you are. You didn't earn that ServSafe Manager certification by being just a cook." He's right. That certification demanded hundreds of hours of study, hands-on practice, and a challenging exam that many industry veterans fail repeatedly. I passed on my first attempt with a near-perfect score. The usher directs the remaining guests toward the ceremony. I stand taller, shoulders back, chin lifted, a posture of someone who runs a professional kitchen, not someone seeking approval. I've earned my place in this field, whether they acknowledge it or not, and I sense that before this wedding concludes, they might finally understand what it truly means to be a chef. My eyes find the seafood platters first. Pearlescent shrimp, glistening oysters, delicate crab claws arranged on silver trays. Normally, I'd admire the presentation, the careful placement, the garnishes enhancing the display. But my trained eye notices something else. The seafood sits under decorative lighting, not refrigeration. It's been out too long. Are these supposed to be left out already? I ask a passing server balancing champagne flutes. We've been setting them up for about 40 minutes, she replies, smiling anxiously. My internal alarm blares. 40 minutes at room temperature for seafood approaches the danger zone. I watch a young server approach the catering manager, a stocky man with a permanent frown. Should we keep these on ice? She asks hesitantly. It's fine. We're busy, he snaps, dismissing her with a flick of his wrist. Stop wasting time and get the rest out. A chill runs down my spine, unrelated to the air conditioning. My instincts surge, honed over years of training crystallizing into sharp focus. Seafood above 40 degrees can become hazardous within 2 hours, or less in a warm, crowded room. I scan the guests, elderly relatives, including my grandmother who survived a heart attack last year, and Michael's pregnant sister-in-law chatting near the bar. I move toward the service entrance, where the venue manager speaks urgently to the catering manager. We lost 2 servers and a supervisor this morning, she says, brows furrowed. Just make it work. We're behind schedule, we always are, he responds with an arrogant smile. Nobody notices these little details anyway, little details. The words echo, recalling countless memories. Dad praising Michael's graduation speech while dismissing my culinary school valedictorian address as nice enough. Mom sharing my brother's law school acceptance online while my James Beard nomination certificate gathered dust. Childhood patterns of valuing appearances over substance, credentials over skill. What they've never understood is that in my profession, those little details separate a memorable celebration from 200 cases of food poisoning. I scan the crowd, mentally cataloging the vulnerable, elderly relatives, a cousin with a compromised immune system, small children running between tables. Over 200 people at risk because someone dismissed food safety as inconvenient. The weight of it hits me. Michael's wedding, the event my parents meticulously planned, their year-long investment of social capital, could end in ambulances and hospital visits. Their golden child's perfect day destroyed by something preventable. My chef training and food safety knowledge, long dismissed by my family, shift from professional pride to critical necessity. The ServSafe Manager certification my father once called a fancy piece of paper for kitchen workers may be the only thing standing between these guests and a medical emergency. I remember his dismissive laugh when I proudly showed him my certification after passing with a near-perfect score. Couldn't you have used that study? Time for something more professional, Scarlett? Law school, maybe? Now, looking at the seafood display, I see it differently. This isn't about validation anymore. It's not about proving myself to a family that has long undervalued my chosen career. Real people could get seriously ill. A pregnant woman lifts a shrimp toward her mouth. An elderly man with diabetes reaches for an oyster. I straighten instinctively, my breathing controlled. I can't allow anyone to get sick, even if it means confrontation. I whisper a mantra to myself, steadying my resolve. My father stands near the wedding buffet, checking his watch with the same impatience I remember from childhood dinners whenever my culinary school stories ran too long. I approach him, keeping my voice calm and professional. Dad, there's a serious problem with the food service. The seafood has been left out without proper temperature control. It's a health risk. His smile remains fixed, eyes flicking to nearby guests. Don't cause a scene, this is Michael's day. I'm not trying to make a scene, I'm trying to prevent food poisoning. My mother steps beside him, lightly touching my arm. Her peach dress matches her manicured nails, every detail perfectly arranged for the photographer. Not everyone obsesses over these things like you do, dear, she says, her tone politely condescending. The caterers know what they're doing. Mom, this isn't obsession. The seafood is in the danger zone. Anyone eating it could get sick. Dad stiffens, his expression hardening. The Hendersons recommended this caterer. They've worked events for the governor. That doesn't make their food immune to bacteria, I reply, keeping my voice steady despite the urgency inside me. He leans in, voice dropping to a sharp whisper. Don't embarrass the family. If you make a fuss over the food at your brother's wedding, you'll regret it. The threat hangs in the air, familiar enough to almost make me laugh. The same warning I heard when I chose culinary school over law, missed family events for my first executive chef role, or corrected his pronunciation of bouillabaisse. My mother pats my hand. Why don't you go enjoy yourself? Meet the Wilson's son. He's a doctor. Her emphasis on doctor says it all. I realize with clarity. They would rather risk 200 guests falling ill than acknowledge my expertise or disrupt their perfect social image. This isn't about pride anymore. It's potentially life-threatening. Leave it to the professionals we hired, Dad says, turning to greet a colleague. Professionals. The word stings, yet steals my resolve. I am a professional, and right now my knowledge matters more than anyone's ego. Scanning the room, I spot the venue manager near the kitchen entrance, clipboard in hand, worry lines on her forehead. I approach. Miss Waters? I'm Scarlett Anderson, the bride's sister. Is everything okay? Groom's sister, I correct automatically. And no, it isn't. I pull out my wallet and show my ServSafe manager certification. I'm the head chef at Maison Bleu. Those seafood platters are at unsafe temperatures. Her eyes widen. You're a certified food safety manager? Yes. They need immediate temperature checks. Relief softens her expression. We lost our food safety supervisor last week. I suspected something was wrong, but the catering manager insisted everything was fine. Can you help? For the first time, someone sees me as a qualified professional, not just Richard Anderson's disappointing daughter. The recognition fills me with purpose. I need to check those temperatures immediately, I say. Moving toward the kitchen, Eleanor falls in step beside me. Thank you, Chef Anderson. You might be saving this wedding more than you know. We enter the kitchen through the swinging doors, the weight of responsibility settling in my chest. Eleanor guides me past busy staff, whispering, "The main cooler is this way." A sous chef eyes us but returns to his work when Eleanor flashes her venue badge. She opens a heavy stainless steel door, releasing a blast of cool air. She hands me a digital probe thermometer, our backup. I nod, understanding their concern. It feels like an extension of my hand. I approach the first seafood platter. Shrimp, crab, salmon, beautifully arranged, but appearance isn't the priority. I insert the probe into a shrimp, careful not to contaminate others. The display climbs 40 degrees. Stops at 52 degrees Celsius. My stomach tightens. This is dangerously high. Seafood should never exceed 41 degrees Celsius while stored or displayed, I say, keeping my voice calm despite rising anger. Eleanor pales. Are you sure? I take 3 more readings from other platters, documenting each on her notepad. Every reading hovers around 52 degrees Fahrenheit, creating an ideal environment for bacterial growth. I notice the refrigeration unit is running but struggling. When was the last maintenance check? 2 weeks ago, Eleanor replies, flipping through her clipboard. Everything passed inspection. I take out my phone and photograph each reading, making sure the timestamps are visible. I need you to see these readings, I tell Eleanor. She signs each entry with her name and title. As we move through the kitchen, more issues emerge. Raw chicken stored above ready-to-eat vegetables, dressings without date labels, a hand-washing sink without soap. The pattern is clear. This is not a single mistake, but systematic negligence. When we confront the head caterer, a portly man with sweat on his brow, his face reddens. We've never had complaints before, he snaps, snatching the notepad from my hand. Who are you to inspect my kitchen? Eleanor steps forward. She is a certified food safety manager. We need to listen, she says. I place my ServSafe manager card on the counter, and I notice his eyes narrow, acknowledging my credentials for the first time. These readings must be wrong, he mutters, but uncertainty shows on his face. Check them yourself, I offer, handing him the thermometer. The seafood has been in the danger zone long enough for bacterial growth that could cause severe food poisoning. His hands shake as he takes his own readings. The numbers confirm the risk. Each piece of evidence strengthens my confidence, not the nervousness I felt with my family earlier, but a calm authority grounded in expertise. We need to remove all seafood immediately, I state, my voice carrying across the kitchen. Staff pause and watch, Eleanor nods. What about the chicken? I continue. It needs to be stored below ready-to-eat foods and checked for proper cooking temperature before service. Dressings require dating or disposal if preparation time cannot be verified. A young line cook approaches hesitantly. I tried to mention the temperature issue, but he wouldn't listen, he admits. The head caterer glares but says nothing. Thank you for speaking up, I tell him. That was the right thing to do. Eleanor touches my arm. We need to inform your father and management, she says. My confidence falters briefly. Facing my father with this information will be harder than confronting the caterer, but the evidence is clear and the risk real. Let's do it, I say, gathering my documentation. The seafood must be removed immediately. Eleanor leads me to a small office near the reception area. My father is already present, along with the venue's general manager, a tall woman with a severe bun and sharp eyes. What's this about removing seafood? My father demands as I enter, his dismissive tone instantly familiar. I place my documentation on the table. Photos, temperature readings, witness signatures, professional evidence, not emotional appeals. This seafood will cause food poisoning. It must be removed immediately, I state plainly. You're overreacting and embarrassing us, my father scoffs. The words sting, but I remain firm. This isn't about me or you. It's about guest safety, I respond, turning to the venue manager. The seafood has been held at 52 degrees for an unknown period. FDA guidelines require seafood to remain below 41 degrees. At these temperatures, bacteria double every 20 minutes. The venue manager frowns, reviewing the documentation. These readings are concerning, she remarks. Concerning? My father interrupts. It's just a few degrees. Scarlett is always dramatic. Eleanor steps forward. Your daughter is correct. This is a serious issue. The venue manager's expression sharpens. Mr. Anderson, we could face major liability if guests become ill. The documented temperatures clearly fall within the danger zone for bacterial growth. I watch my father as he realizes this isn't about his daughter overstepping. I'm not asking permission, I say. Steadier than I expected. I'm telling you, as a food safety professional, what needs to happen. Silence follows. The power dynamic subtly but definitively shifted. The venue manager turns to Eleanor. Pull all seafood items immediately and alert the kitchen staff. Eleanor nods. Yes, ma'am. Based on Ms. Anderson's certification, her assessment is actionable. My father's jaw tightens, but he says nothing as Eleanor leaves to carry out the order. I've won this round, not through family status, but through professional expertise. Back in the kitchen, the atmosphere shifts. Staff move with focus, following my instructions on safe food handling. The head caterer, now subdued, asks about proper cooling procedures. Chef Anderson, Eleanor calls as she returns. The staff needs guidance on replacement options. Not Ms. Anderson or Richard's daughter, just my professional title. That simple acknowledgement fills me with validation. A server approaches, extending her hand. Thank you for catching this. My grandmother is here tonight. She's 82 and had a heart valve replacement last year. Food poisoning could have been disastrous for her. Before I can reply, another guest steps into the kitchen, a middle-aged man in an expensive suit. Are you the chef who spotted the temperature issue? He asks, offering his hand. I'm Thomas Riley, executive chef at the Harrington downtown. Quick thinking. You just saved a lot of people from food poisoning. His professional recognition washes over me like a balm. For the first time tonight, I am seen as myself, not someone's daughter or sister. The kitchen staff gathers as I begin discussing safe alternatives. One suggests a quick pasta dish to replace the seafood. Another notes extra chicken inventory that can be prepared safely in time. Surrounded by people who respect my expertise, I realize something profound. My worth isn't tied to family approval. Peer validation, people who understand the value of my work, means far more than my father's recognition ever could. Eleanor returns, urgency written across her face. The seafood's been removed, but now we have 200 hungry guests and a 3-course meal missing its centerpiece. What do we do next? All eyes turn to me. For the first time tonight, I feel confident and powerful. This is my domain. This is where I excel. Rolling up my sleeves, I declare, let's save my brother's wedding dinner. I push through the swinging doors into the kitchen, Eleanor close behind. The triumph from the seafood confrontation fades as reality sets in. 200 hungry guests, no main course, 35 minutes until service. Everyone listen up. My voice cuts through the kitchen chatter, commanding authority earned from running Maison Bleu. The seafood has been pulled due to unsafe temperatures. We need an alternative menu immediately. The kitchen staff, a mix of venue employees and caterers, exchange nervous glances. I scan their faces, noting skills and specialties. Eleanor steps forward, all business. The Anderson family expects excellence. Let's make something even better than they imagined. I interrupt, already calculating possibilities. First, what do we have? I need a full inventory. 2 line cooks check refrigerators and storage areas while I grab a notepad and sketch a replacement menu. My serve-safe training shifts from defense to offense. What can we prepare safely with available ingredients under severe time constraints? We have 40 pounds of chicken breast, calls a young woman with expert knife skills. Whole and boneless. 20 pounds of pasta. Assorted dried varieties, adds a sous chef. Fresh vegetables. Plenty of herbs, reports another, I nod. Calculating portions, cooking times, and flavor profiles. Good, we can work with this. The kitchen staff gathers as I lay out the plan. Station 1. Chicken with lemon beurre blanc. Station 2. Handmade mushroom cream pasta. Station 3. Seasonal vegetables. I assign stations according to their strengths. The woman with knife skills handles protein prep, while the older cook with steady hands takes sauce duty. The energetic young man moves efficiently toward the vegetable station. Questions? I ask, scanning their faces. Is this allowed? One server asks hesitantly. Eleanor steps forward. It's more than allowed. It's necessary. I meet her eyes with silent gratitude before continuing. We're not assigning blame. We're solving a problem. This isn't about the seafood anymore. It's about delivering a safe, high-quality meal to our guests. Eleanor checks her watch. I'll handle front-of-house communication. You manage the kitchen. As she leaves, I pull out my phone and call Chef Marcus. He answers on the second ring. Marcus, I need advice on a rapid menu change. His calm tone steadies me as I explain the situation. Smart move removing the seafood. For the chicken, marinate quickly with lemon and herbs to enhance flavor fast. Use the starch from pasta water to thicken your cream sauce. I put him on speaker while supervising the chicken prep. What about presentation? Guests were expecting elegant seafood plates. Vertical plating, he advises. Stack components, add height, use negative space. Make simple ingredients look premium. While Marcus talks, I confirm each staff member's food handling credentials. No surprises tonight. The woman at the protein station mentions her culinary school experience. Perfect for handling the delicate sauce work. Timeline? Marcus asks. 30 minutes to pivot the menu. You've got this, he says before hanging up. The kitchen moves like a well-oiled machine. Chicken marinates in lemon, herbs, and olive oil. Pasta water boils. Vegetables are cut precisely. Every surface is in use, every hand in motion. I coordinate with the serving team leader. We'll need synchronized service. All tables served within 8 minutes. Eleanor returns, nodding at our progress. Front-of-house adjustments are handled. I've informed the event coordinator that changes are being made for quality reasons, without mentioning food safety to avoid unnecessary concern. Chicken sizzles in the pans, releasing savory aromas. Mushroom sauce reduces to a silky consistency. Vegetables maintain vibrant color, blanched then shocked in ice water. I check the chicken's temperature when the kitchen door swings open. My father stands there, face flushed. What exactly do you think you're doing? He asks, voice low but sharp. I remain calm, thermometer in hand, ensuring your guests have dinner. You've pulled an entire seafood service worth thousands. He steps closer, hissing. Who gave you that authority? The health department certified me, I reply evenly, continuing to work. His eyes narrow. If you ruin Michael's wedding dinner, you'll regret it. The threat lingers, familiar but less intimidating than before. I meet his gaze directly. Dad, please let me do my job. I'm trying to save this reception. He opens his mouth to argue further, but Eleanor appears behind him. Mr. Anderson, the kitchen needs to be clear for service prep. My father hesitates, then steps aside, giving one final warning look. I take a deep breath and return to the chicken, checking temperatures with renewed focus. Cooking is where I excel, and tonight, despite his disapproval, I am exactly where I need to be. The kitchen hums with energy as I guide the team through the final stages of our replacement menu. Amid the chaos, a familiar calm sets in as I move between stations, checking temperatures and tasting sauces. Chef, the beurre blanc is ready for approval, calls Jenna, a line cook who adapted seamlessly to my leadership. I taste the creamy lemon sauce and nod. Perfect. Start plating the chicken. My voice carries the authority I use at Maison Bleu. The staff responds immediately. Every component of the new menu nears completion. Herb roasted chicken rests before slicing. Handmade pasta is tossed in mushroom cream sauce. Seasonal vegetables are arranged elegantly. Simple ingredients are elevated through technique, not cost. Hold the asparagus another 30 seconds. I instruct a cook removing a pan from the flame. We want color, not softness. The kitchen feels like my domain now, a place where years of experience and training truly count. I move deliberately between stations, keeping the steady rhythm that defines any professional kitchen. No wasted motion, no unnecessary words. Remember, we're not just preventing disaster. I tell the team as they arrange components on warmed plates, we're creating excellence. A server approaches with a question about wine pairings, and I offer recommendations without slowing down. This isn't just damage control anymore, it's a full reimagining of what this wedding dinner can be. Every plate leaves the kitchen as if it was always meant to be served, not a last-minute substitution. The swinging doors burst open. My mother storms in, followed by the wedding planner. Diana Anderson, perfectly styled and in a designer dress, looks out of place among the stainless steel and white aprons. "Richard says you've thrown out the seafood," she calls, her voice carrying across the kitchen and drawing uneasy glances from the staff. I wipe my hands on a towel and approach her calmly. "Mom, I can explain." "Explain what?" "That you're sabotaging your brother's wedding out of jealousy?" She fumbles in her clutch for her phone. "I'm calling Frank Donahue now. He owns the catering company and plays golf with your father. The accusation stings worse than any burn from the stove." "Jealousy? After everything I've done to prevent a disaster?" The wedding planner steps forward, clutching her clipboard like armor. "Mrs. Anderson, the reception timeline is already 20 minutes behind. Guests are getting restless." My mother's eyes narrow. "Fix this, Scarlett, now." A younger version of me would have launched into a detailed defense, listing every food safety concern. But defending myself isn't the priority. 200 hungry guests are. "Mom, please let me handle this," I say, holding her gaze. "I promise your guests will be impressed with what we're serving." "They paid for seafood, Scarlett." "They'll get something better," she replies. I turn to a line cook presenting a plate for inspection, adjusting the sauce slightly. "Something safe." My mother lingers, clearly surprised as she watches me direct the kitchen. Perhaps she's never seen this side of me, the professional who earns respect through skill. Not family connections. "The pasta needs more garnish," I call out, returning my focus fully to the food. Eventually, my mother retreats, the wedding planner following. The kitchen settles back into rhythm. I taste the mushroom sauce one last time, adding a pinch of salt. "More herbs on the chicken," I instruct, moving to check the vegetable presentation. Every dish receives my personal attention. I check temperatures, seasoning, and plating with the precision that earned me my role at Maison Bleu. Mistakes aren't an option, not when each plate will be judged against the expectations of the original menu. First seating is ready, I announce after inspecting the final arrangement. Servers line up with trays as I make last-minute garnish adjustments. The kitchen doors swing open again. Eleanor steps in, her professional demeanor softened by genuine admiration as she surveys our work. "It's time," she says. The guests are seated and waiting. I take a deep breath, straighten my spine, and lift my chin slightly. In this moment, I am not Richard Anderson's disappointing daughter or Michael's jealous sister. I am Chef Anderson, a professional who knows exactly what she's doing. Whatever happens next, I've done my job, not as a daughter seeking approval, but as a chef protecting her guests. I gather the serving staff, mindful of every passing second. Tonight, we serve roasted herb chicken with lemon beurre blanc, handmade pasta with mushroom cream sauce, and fresh seasonal vegetables. Every dish is prepared carefully and meets the highest safety standards. These words steady me. This is what I know. This is what I do. Table 6 gets the vegetarian option. Tables 12 and 14 have guests with gluten intolerance, so their pasta is replaced with roasted potatoes. The bride's grandmother at table 1 gets a smaller portion with extra sauce, as requested. The servers nod, a mix of stress and determination on their faces. "We're all in this together. Let's go," I say. The kitchen erupts into coordinated motion. Line cooks plate with precision. Servers arrange trays, and I inspect each dish before it leaves the kitchen. The mechanics of service take over, a dance I've performed thousands of times at Maison Bleu. Eleanor appears beside me as the first trays leave. "Chef Anderson has created something special under difficult circumstances," she tells the servers. "Make sure the guests are aware of that." The first plates vanish through the swinging doors, carried by servers with practiced, polite smiles. I stand still, suddenly conscious of the responsibility I've assumed, feeding 200 people on almost no notice, with limited ingredients and borrowed staff. If it fails, Michael will make his announcement, and my parents will never forgive me. Everything I've built professionally could be erased from the family narrative. Eleanor remains at my side as we watch through the small window in the kitchen door. "They're going to love it," she says quietly. "This food has heart." The kitchen staff gathers behind us, peeking through any available opening. We observe the first guests receiving their plates. A woman at table 3 takes a bite of her chicken, pauses and smiles, saying something to her companion. "Can't tell if that's good or bad," whispers one of the line cooks. I hold my breath as more guests start eating. A man at table 7 closes his eyes as he tastes the mushroom pasta. Another guest gestures to her plate, nodding enthusiastically to the server. But individual reactions mean little if my family believes I've ruined everything. The stakes have never been higher. My entire identity, professional and personal, rests on what happens in the next few minutes. "More plates ready," calls a voice behind me. I turn back to the kitchen, to the work that grounds me. Let's keep going. Inspecting the next round of plates, I notice Eleanor watching me, her expression unreadable. "You know," she says, "most people would have collapsed under this kind of pressure." I adjust a sprig of herbs on a plate. "This is what I do every day, I think. Not with your family trying to sabotage you." Her words hit hard. At Maison Bleu, my skills are respected. Here, I'm fighting for basic recognition from the people who should know me best. The doors swing open as a server returns. "Chef Anderson?" she asks, and my heart skips. "Guests at table 1 want to meet you after dinner. They say it's the best emergency menu they've ever had." Relief surges, but I keep my expression neutral. Thank them, but let's focus on getting everyone served first. As the second round of plates leaves the kitchen, I allow a flicker of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, this food will speak for itself. And maybe that will finally be enough. The dining room hums with whispers as servers deliver our replacement menu. My stomach knots as I watch from the kitchen doorway, positioned to observe without drawing attention. Every detail, presentation, portion sizes, sauce placement, is cataloged by my chef's mind. But it's the reactions I anticipate. "They're loving it," Eleanor whispers at my elbow. Watch table 7. An older gentleman cuts into his herb-roasted chicken, bites, and closes his eyes. His expression shifts from polite expectation to genuine pleasure. He touches his wife's arm. She samples her plate, her eyebrows rising in surprise. I breathe, resisting the urge to jinx it, while warmth spreads beneath my ribs. Murmurs grow as more guests receive their food. Conversations pause. Servers return to the kitchen without the half-eaten plates that signal dissatisfaction. "Chef, they're asking for extra sauce on the side," reports a server, practically bouncing with excitement. Table 12 said it's the best chicken they've ever had at a wedding. Table 9 wants recipe cards, adds another. The kitchen staff exchange glances. Their earlier tension melts into cautious pride. When I first took over, they had followed instructions with professional skepticism. Now they move with confidence, aware they've delivered something exceptional. "Miss Waters?" A woman in her 60s approaches Eleanor. "Is it possible to compliment the chef?" "This pasta is extraordinary," Eleanor smiles. "Actually, that's Chef Anderson," she gestures toward me. The woman turns, recognition dawning. "You're Michael's sister. You made this?" I nod, maintaining my professional composure. "Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you're enjoying it." "Enjoying doesn't cover it," she lowers her voice. "My sister attended the Peterson wedding last month, 32. People in the ER from bad seafood instead of dancing. Chill runs through me at how close we came to the same disaster. Your parents must be very proud," she says. Before I can respond diplomatically, Eleanor gently interrupts. Chef Anderson completely overhauled tonight's menu after discovering food safety issues with the original catering. She prevented what could have been a serious situation. The woman's eyes widen. "Well, I'll be telling everyone at my table." That was quick thinking. She returns to her seat, leaning in to speak with her table mates. Heads turn toward me, followed by approving nods. "The word is spreading," Eleanor notes, satisfaction clear in her voice. Near the head table, I spot Dr. Wilkins, my parents' longtime friend and a respected gastroenterologist. He's explaining something to nearby tables, gesturing from his plate to me. His medical explanation of the potential problem adds weight. "Your chicken is perfect," a familiar voice says behind me. I turn to see Michael's college roommate, now a restaurant critic. "Thanks, James." "No, seriously." He raises his fork. "This beer blanc has perfect acidity. How did you manage this on such short notice?" "Trade secret," I reply with a smile, though my attention drifts to the head table where my parents sit with Michael and his new wife. Even from here, I notice my father's rigid posture as guests approach to compliment the food and likely mention the avoided mishap. My mother's social smile seems strained. Michael, however, is fully enjoying his meal, oblivious to the undercurrents, beaming at his bride. Chef Anderson? The venue's event coordinator approaches with a wireless microphone. We'd like to make a brief announcement before dessert. My stomach drops. That's really not necessary. It absolutely is, Eleanor interrupts firmly. This is standard procedure whenever special circumstances affect an event. The coordinator nods. It's important for liability reasons that we acknowledge what happened and how it was handled. Before I can protest further, Eleanor moves to the center of the hall, taps the microphone, and the room gradually quiets. Good evening, everyone. Before we serve the wedding cake, I'd like to address something important. Her voice carries clearly. Earlier tonight, we faced a potential food safety issue with the original menu. I want to recognize Chef Scarlett Anderson, whose expertise prevented a serious health problem. Faces turn toward me, and I feel my cheeks warm. Chef Anderson, who is also the groom's sister, identified the issue and led our kitchen team to create a new menu on extremely short notice. Her swift action and culinary skill transformed a potential disaster into the delightful dining experience you've enjoyed tonight. Applause breaks out, first scattered, then spreading across the room. Several guests rise, including Dr. Wilkins and his table. Eleanor nudges me forward, and I give a small, professional nod, fighting the urge to retreat. Through the crowd, I catch my father's expression, a mix of surprise, discomfort, and perhaps budding respect. My mother sits perfectly still, her social mask slipping to reveal genuine astonishment. As applause fades and the coordinator returns the event to schedule, guests start approaching me directly. I am no longer just Richard Anderson's daughter who chose kitchens over courtrooms. Now I am Chef Anderson, the professional whose expertise saved the wedding. Chef, an older man introduces himself as the manager of the city's premier hotel. We're opening a new restaurant space next spring and would like to discuss consulting on the kitchen setup. A caterer hands me her card. We need someone with your food safety knowledge. Call me Monday? As the reception moves toward dancing, Michael leaves the receiving line and approaches me, face flushed. Perhaps from champagne, perhaps from emotion. Scar? He uses my childhood nickname for the first time in years. Dad told me what happened with the food. You saved my wedding. Just doing my job, I reply automatically. No. He shakes his head. I didn't really understand what you do. I thought. Being a chef was just about cooking nice food. He looks embarrassed. The irony makes me smile. There's a bit more to it, I say, clearly. He glances back at the head table where our parents are deep in conversation with the venue manager. You know what Dad said to me? He continues. Your sister might be the most competent professional in this family. A knot in my chest loosens. Eleanor approaches with a glass of champagne. Chef Anderson, I'd like to discuss something. The Grand Meridian has been looking for a food safety consultant. After tonight, I hope you'll consider the position. I'd be interested, I say, surprised at how steady my voice feels. As dessert is served, I notice my father watching me from across the room. When our eyes meet, he raises his glass in a private toast. The venue manager steps to the microphone again. Ladies and gentlemen, a toast before the dancing begins. She raises her glass. To Michael and Caitlin, of course. And to Chef Anderson, who reminded us tonight that true professionalism shines under pressure. 200 glasses rise in unison. To Chef Anderson. In that moment, with my professional title echoed through the hall of my brother's wedding, I feel the full integration of my two worlds. No longer the family disappointment with an impractical career. I am now Chef Scarlett Anderson, professional, skilled, and respected. As I sip my champagne, I catch my reflection in the ballroom mirrors. The woman looking back wears a lavender dress and tired eyes, yet her shoulders are straight, her chin lifted. She is exactly who she has become, a chef who prevented a disaster and in doing so, earned her place at the family table. I adjust the framed certificate on my office wall. Serve Safe Manager, Scarlett Anderson, as sunlight streams into my consulting space. 6 months have passed since Michael's wedding, and this small office represents everything that changed that night. My phone buzzes with a message from Eleanor. Conference room ready for your food safety workshop. 15 venue managers confirmed. The memory of that wedding flashes in my mind. Not the humiliation from my parents' dismissal, but the turning point when everything shifted. Richard approached me as guests departed. His usual confidence replaced by unease. "I didn't realize what your work really involved," he said, fidgeting with his tie, until that doctor from Table 7 explained what could have happened. I nodded, letting the silence stretch. "The venue manager called you Chef Anderson," he added. "I've never heard anyone use your title before." That night, 3 local venue owners asked for my card. The next morning, Eleanor called with a formal consulting offer. "We need your expertise regularly." By week's end, a reporter from the West Side Chronicle reached out about the wedding rescue, as it was being called. Chef Marcus sent me screenshots of industry messages praising his protege. "Told you they'd see what I see. Michael and his wife visited my restaurant the following week." "You're amazing," my brother said, humility new to him. "We were wrong about your career, Scarlett." Dead wrong. The most validating confirmation came when the health department confirmed that my judgment had prevented a major health crisis. I gathered my laptop and presentation materials ready for today's workshop. The woman confidently walking downtown now is almost unrecognizable from the one who arrived at that wedding uncertain of her place. Sunday dinners at my parents' home have changed. Last week, Dad asked about proper refrigeration for leftovers. Mom sought my advice on a caterer for her charity event. These small acknowledgments feel more meaningful than any grand apology. My profile in a regional culinary magazine sits framed beside my certification, How Chef Anderson is Transforming Event Catering Standards. The article notes my consulting work with 5 major venues and my teaching role at the Culinary Institute. When offered a national safety director position with triple my current income, I declined. I value my independence. I told them honestly, the old Scarlett would have chased titles and validation. Last month, I began mentoring junior chefs at the culinary school, sharing the lessons it took me years to learn. Your value comes from your work, not others' opinions. I arrive at the venue where it all began, now a regular client. Eleanor greets me in the lobby with her tablet. "Your presentation schedule is confirmed through next quarter," she says. "The Anderson safety protocols are becoming the downtown industry standard." I smile, my name now associated with excellence rather than embarrassment. The retirement venue calls to confirm Mom's celebration next week. Eleanor adds, "They're excited to have you consulting for Diana's party." Mom's retirement gathering at the Wellington is another full-circle moment. I had helped redesign their kitchen protocols last month, the perfect setting for her celebration. Arriving at the Wellington, the contrast with Michael's wedding is stark. I wear a simple black dress, professional rather than apologetic. Dad stands near the entrance, surrounded by colleagues, waving me over with pride. "This is my daughter, Scarlett," he tells the group. "She's revolutionizing food safety in our city." His colleague nods appreciatively. "My wife attended your workshop," he adds. The most valuable training our hospital catering staff has ever had. Later, as guests mingle, Mom approaches. "The director told me they completely reorganized their kitchen based on your recommendations." "Sometimes you have to stand firm on what you know is right," I say, even when it's difficult. Her eyes soften, understanding more than my professional accomplishments. Eleanor joins us, champagne in hand. "Have you told them about the scholarship program?" Mom looks intrigued. Eleanor explains, "The Scarlett Anderson Safety Scholarship, launching next semester at the Culinary Institute, will teach students the critical importance of food safety early in their training. This program represents more than personal validation. It creates lasting impact." 3 venues have already improved their safety protocols under my guidance, potentially preventing countless illnesses. The room quiets as Dad takes the small stage for a toast to Mom's career. "Diana and I have learned much in recent months," he says with emotion. "I've learned that true respect comes from honoring expertise, even when it appears in unexpected places." Murmurs of agreement ripple through the gathering. As applause fills the room, I feel a long-held burden lift, the weight of seeking approval that never seemed to come. I realize a fundamental truth. My worth was never about their approval. It was about the lives I can protect through my knowledge. That is the legacy I am building, one kitchen at a time. When Dad raises his glass toward me, I raise mine in return. We are equals at last, professionals in our own fields, family in all the ways that truly matter.